Hey everybody, welcome to Music House virtual reality quarantine fun zone. um, we are going to be teaching classes online for the foreseeable future, and we want to make sure that you are not missing out on all of the high quality music education that you would be getting if you were in school, and hopefully, if we play our cards right, we can come out of this thing even better musicians than we were before. And I know I'm going to be practicing a whole lot while we're all sheltered in place, staying safe in our homes, and um, that I hope you practice along with me. We're doing a new thing that's the 25 days of practice. If you make sure that you're practicing every single day and make sure that you're keeping up with all of the lessons that we're putting up online here, then you'll be recognized for all of your hard work at the end of this thing. And I know I'm going to be practicing, so let's see if you can do better than me, you know? So this being our first episode together, we're going to treat this more so as like a warm-up kind of activity and a way to kind of just get acquainted with our new way of learning and get acquainted with um, playing along with me, getting acquainted with kind of almost in a certain sense being your own teacher, because that's kind of something that um, is really important to do in a time like this, because we can't really gather in groups as we'd like to share our music with each other and get real-time feedback with each other. And so, we're going to be losing out a lot on our listening, especially listening to how we're blending with other instruments and making sure that, things are sounding good that way. But, you know, I want to teach you how to teach yourself. I want to teach you how to be the musician that you want to be, and I think that hopefully through those videos we can do that. So to that end, I know that this is info that hopefully we all know very well by now, but I want to make sure, just again, because this is the first episode really, I want to make sure that we're all on the same page and starting with a clean slate almost. So we're going to learn how to put our saxophone together. I've been putting saxophones together since before you were born, and I can always still use a refresher. So we all know and love our favorites: the reed, the mouthpiece, and the ligature. Music wouldn't be possible without these things, right? So the first thing that we want to do when we're putting our saxophone together, always, 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 is put your reed in your mouth. That is always step one for putting your instrument together and making sure that you're going to be starting off on the right foot and getting the sound that you want to. Is you want to have a reed that is properly soaked and will be ready to play when you are. So, you don't need to soak it for forever. A lot of people will go to great lengths to make sure their reeds are how they want them to be. Some people will put them in a tin with a pantyhose full of rock salt. I use a camping thermos full of half Listerine and half water for my baritone and tenor reeds, just because they're a lot bigger and they can benefit from a nice long soak. But these alto reeds, clarinet reeds, like, you're fine just putting them in your mouth. A real pro move that you can do, besides dropping all your instrument pieces, is if you can turn the reed around without touching it, just using your mouth, and that's how you know you're a true saxophonist. Okay, so check this out. I can do that all day, baby. So now that we've got our reed sufficiently soaked, we want to make sure that it's in the right place on our mouthpiece. So you want it just below the tip of the reed, okay? Just like this. You can kind of see it. You press down, then that's how you know your reed is in the right place. So once you have your reed in the right place, then you put the ligature on with the screws facing outward away from the reed, just like this. You don't want to have it on top of the mouthpiece because that's just simply not where it goes. Other ligatures are different, obviously, but this is probably going to be the most common one that you encounter. And basically, you know if the ligature is in the right place, if this part of the reed feels nice and supported and secure. And a fun way that you can test this is you put the mouthpiece right on the palm of your hand like that, and then suck all the air out, and then you'll hear a little pop. And if you hear that little pop, then that's how you know that your mouthpiece is on the right way. You can create a perfect seal because your reed is placed in a perfect way. So now that we've got the mouthpiece put together, we want to always put the mouthpiece on the gooseneck first, and then put the gooseneck on the body of the saxophone. You know, you can adjust your mouthpiece a little bit, but trying to, you know, like put the mouthpiece on the saxophone and just jam it in there while the gooseneck's in there can mess with these fragile little parts, okay? And we want to make sure that we're keeping our saxophone nice and safe because these are, you know, really expensive and hard to fix equipment, and we want to play them forever. So now that we have our mouthpiece on, we want to make sure that our neck strap is as adjusted as it needs to be. So, you know, you put the neck strap on, how you do it, and then bring it up to your mouth, just like this. And what you want is you want your neck strap to be in place in such a way where if you have your saxophone in rest position like this, and then put it up to your mouth like that, when you're standing nice and straight, it comes right up to your mouth. You don't have to move at all. It just, the saxophone comes to you. Just like that. So, you know that your neck strap is too loose if you have to bring the neck strap up to your saxophone, or you have to bring your saxophone up to your mouth, either physically with adjusting your arms, or, and this is what you really don't want to do, is you droop down and bend down to meet the saxophone where it's at. You always want the saxophone to come to you. So you can also have your neck strap be too tight, and when you go from rest position to then, you end up poking yourself in the eye. You know, that's something you definitely don't want to do. It's happened to me before on accident, and trust me, it does not feel good. It also probably will break your reed, so you want to be careful about that. So, the way I usually like to adjust my neck strap is putting it down, putting the instrument in my mouth, and then pulling it up until the saxophone comes up to me naturally. It's very, very important to do it like this because you can see how straight my back is and how good my posture is, you know? So this, having good posture like this allows me to take the deep breaths that we need in order to play our phrases. See, look at my chest popping out. You know, if we had everybody was slinked down like this, try to look and see how much my chest pops out now. You know, it's a lot harder to take a full breath like this. Okay? So, now that we have the neck strap put in place, it's time to get playing. And what we want is to have a full and supported tone. And the way that we get that is by having a good embouchure in place, by having a very controlled and well-supported airstream, by taking a big breath, and by making sure that we are holding our saxophone properly. So we want to put our bottom teeth over our bottom lip, curled just like that. Put the mouthpiece in your mouth, bite down like that, nice and firm, and then cinch the corners of your mouth like a drawstring. Like, you want these corners to be really nice and tight. That's how you get a good tone. So, now that we're playing with a good tone, with our nice and firm supported embouchure, let's go through our warm-up that we do in class, just like how we normally do it. So, like I said, we need to teach each other how to do the teaching that we would be doing when we're all together. So we're not going to have myself or Mr. Trumbo counting along, right? So you need to get a metronome. You can just Google metronome, and it'll keep the beat for you, just like that. So we're going to do lines 1 through 10. We're going to keep this as the tempo. Okay? And we're just going to go through it just how we do in class, okay? 1, 2, line 1, ready, play. Rest 2, 3, 4. Rest 2, line 2. Rest 2, 3, 4. Line 3, ready, play. Rest 2, 3, 4. Line 4, ready, go. 2, 3, 4. Line 5, ready, play. 2, 3, 4. Line 6, ready, play. 2, 3, 4. Whoops. Okay. You're not going to have to be counting while you're playing, luckily. So let's try line 6 again. 1, 2, line 6, ready, play. 2, 3, 4. 2, line 7. 2, 3, 4. Tap your feet, line 8. 2, 3, 4. Take the repeat. 2, ready, play. Line 9. Press 2, 3, 4. Rest 2, line 10. 2, ready, play. Take the repeat. 2, 3, 4. 2, and that's it. So, we can stop our metronome now. And remember, that's just right on Google. And I encourage you to start off your practices this way, warming up. I encourage you to follow along really diligently with all the lessons that we're going to be putting online. They're for you, and they're for you to become the best musician that you can be. And I have nothing but the utmost faith in your performance capabilities. I'm really excited for us to come back to each other and hear all the progress that we've made separately, so that we can come together as a band once again, sounding even better than ever. So that's it for this lesson, and I will see you again soon.